Welcome to the Scale with Stride podcast, the place where you come to listen to some of the world's most influential leaders of the SaaS industry.
I'm excited to welcome today's guest, Dan Monahan. Dan has a rich background in sales and leadership within SaaS growth, and having over 6 years stint at ZeroTurnaround, a Bain Capital portfolio company, which was later acquired by Perforce. He then joined his first bold start company, Forestry.io, leading a very large sales and sales engineering team. Dan then moved on to his second bold start company, Snyk, a very world famous company where he helped grow the revenue from 30 million ARR to 300 million ARR. After taking a step back into a regional sales manager role when he joined, he then earned 2 promotions in 4 years, ultimately becoming the director of sales for Central and West. Now, Dan is at the very early stages of Waldo, an AI company focused on research and strategy. Dan, I'm excited to have you today. How are you?
I'm doing well, John. How are you?
All good, thank you. Living the dream. So do you want to give us a little introduction yourself, just for our viewers?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, thank you for having me. To your point, I originally started my career at a Series A Bain Capital Venture startup, but even before that, I thought I wanted to get into finance. So I went to Northeastern, I got a finance degree. I would say the beauty of that, you get to do co-ops and internships, you find out what you don't want to do. And, I realized that finance wasn't for me and really wanted to get into the early stage startup game, focusing on enterprise software. So yeah, to your point, I spent 6 years at ZeroTurnaround, got acquired by Perforce. Then I was the head of sales for 2.5 years at another small Series A seed company, Forestry. And I spent the last 4 years at Snyk. And most recently now I'm at Waldo.fyi.
Nice. Well, I can see why Justin at Waldo wanted you. You've definitely got early stage experience and well-known in bold start. So no, it's great to have you today. And obviously Gen.AI is just such a huge topic of conversation at the moment. I think you guys have got a really interesting product. So let's start off here for our viewers then. Most of them probably won't know who Waldo are because you're so early. So do you want to give us a little overview of the company and what you guys do?
Yeah. So we are an AI platform that is going to allow marketers, brand strategists, researchers get the insights and strategy they need on any company, product, space, competition to really just get smart quickly and not only find the research you need, but generate insights and strategy to have a good point of view on who your customer is or who you're going to be pitching for new business as well.
Amazing. Sounds really exciting. And that's not quite the area you've worked in at Snyk in the DevSecOps space. So, yeah. I guess that leads me into my first question for you. Like, why did you join Waldo? Because that's such a huge, jump left field, right?
Yeah. So, my background has been in cybersecurity, DevOps tooling, web content management. But for me, I'm pretty technology agnostic. I'm not married to, hey, I spent 4 years at Snyk. I had a great run there. Let me go to the next cybersecurity company. Like, I think there is value when you have a lot of domain expertise in a certain vertical or market to just like parlay that into the next role. But for me, it really comes down to I found the right founder and I found a company that has awesome product market fit. So for me, like at the seed stage or Series A, it's kind of like those 2 criteria are like 1A and 1B.
Nice.
So you can be successful with a company that has product market fit, but maybe it's not the founder you want to work for. But on the flip side, you can't be a head of sales, in my opinion, pre-product market fit. You can be like the head of strategic research. But like Waldo had those 2 things. I really loved Justin. Obviously, I talked to him for several months before I joined, and just seeing the traction and the market opportunity really made it a no-brainer for me to join.
Nice. I've just come back from RSA Security, actually, over in San Fran, and I spoke to a ton of investors, and they say the same 2 things. They almost say, like, the people are more important than the product, right? But obviously, it's the 2 that they look for when they look at these new GenAI areas. So like that's really interesting to see that echoed. And you said you spoke to Justin for a couple of months. I guess Justin, previous founding partner at Boldstar, his company called Wonder, which we all know. I mean, what was it about Justin then that you thought you want your next project to be with him?
Yeah. So, first off, he's a great guy. I think that helps a lot, especially when you're coming in as the head of sales. Like, I realized early on in my career when I was the head of sales at a previous company that the founder has been thinking about this, working on it, and selling it years before you join, most likely. So just that level of expectation and pressure when you come in and to deliver is really high versus maybe going to like a Series D or E company where it's like, hey, you got 1 or 2 quarters to ramp. So for Justin, it's like, I like him as a person, but outside of that, he's very product focused. So, he is like boots on the ground, talking to customers. If you sign up for Waldo, like you have the opportunity at a certain stage in the journey to like click a link and talk to Justin directly. So for me, it was, he's not out there just building Waldo kind of like in a room by himself with his engineering team, not talking to customers. Like he's talking to them every week, getting feedback, talking to partners. So from the product perspective, I have a lot of trust that not only is he going to build what we need today, but, for a hockey analogy, he's skating to where the puck is going in the future as well. And, he helped start Boldstar Ventures. So from like a fundraising perspective, he's obviously on very solid footing. So for me, it's like product, ability to fundraise, and also, he gives me the autonomy to build the sales process that I think is going to be the most successful for Waldo. And obviously, we work really closely designing that together and like making sure that I'm keeping him in the loop on what I'm doing. But it's really like giving me the autonomy to build and like, I'm going to focus on this area and, you're going to hammer away at product. And ideally, like those two things are going to meet and we're going to have an awesome company.
Amazing. Sounds like a great guy to be partnered with, particularly, as Gen.AI becomes more popular. This guy's a second-time founder, very knowledgeable at raising money, as you mentioned, and sounds like a good guy to work with. So I guess let's talk about Waldo a little bit today. I think the viewers want to know a little bit more about Waldo and yourself. So AI research and strategy, what does that mean? And how big is this market space already, just so we can comprehend it?
Yeah. So, I mean, the market is large. So where we are starting is really in the advertising space. And that's also what attracted me to Waldo. It's not, hey, we're going to be a strategy, insight, research platform for everybody in the world. Like, I think ideally you get there, but I think at this stage of a company, you need to be super focused and narrow and like know your ICP. So the market is very large. So there's obviously, the big, advertising holding companies, all the networks and agencies under them. But then there's also internal brand and marketing teams at large companies as well. If you think of like a, consumer packaged good company, not only are they researching and trying to get insights into their current products and portfolio, but also what the competition is doing as well.
Amazing. Really, really interesting. So let's kind of talk about the product a little bit. So the AI, I've seen AI added onto businesses solutions, but it sounds like you guys are a true Gen.AI product. If I'm an agency or a brand and I'm doing my internal analysis, like help me understand give me an overview of the product slightly.
Yeah. So, and maybe I'll take a step back that, Waldo came out of Justin's previous company, Ask Wonder, which was an on-demand research platform. So, they had thousands of freelance researchers working for Ask Wonder to like consolidate research and information to deliver to, McKinsey or one of these management consulting companies. And so they built technology to really supercharge those freelancers and came to the realization of, okay, we built all of this internal tooling to make these people very good at their job. This can also be applicable outside of what we're doing. And so it got spun out into a separate company, which is now Waldo. But really what makes us different from like a deep research in OpenAI or some of these other like more like horizontal AI platforms that are doing, an awesome job at not only the foundational models, but a lot of separate verticals as well. Is, today we're really focused on providing strategy and insights to agencies, internal branding teams, marketing teams. So we have a whole, 60 plus pre-built workflows that you don't need to prompt, that'll run you through the steps you need to get the insights. You need to be smart for your customer, to give them a new idea, to send it to your creative team. So not only are we looking at all of the open web, but also social media data, third-party paid sources. You can customize it to pull in your own proprietary data. You can customize the workflows so it works how you normally do internally, but it's just going to automate a lot of the tasks. So I think everybody in business today is trying to do more with less. And like, how do you leverage AI to like up level your team? That's why people are coming to Waldo. It's, pre-built, you can customize it, and you can get a lot of value from day one.
Amazing. That sounds really exciting. And I guess that leads on quite nicely because I think AI is new, right? We did the digital transformation era over the last 10, however many years. I feel like we're now going into the AI transformation area where that level of trust is coming into business. So I guess, how have your customers so far reacted to it?
Yeah. So overall, very positive. Like, again, I think at this stage of the company, you need to be hyper focused on your ICP. And so, like, right now it's pretty much all inbound. And when somebody who is our non-ICP comes in, we try to learn from them to see like, hey, should we push into this market at some point? But we're pretty tight on how we qualify and move people through the sales funnel. But overarching, it's like, hey, this is going to add a lot of value. We get a ton of feedback saying, have you thought about this data source? How could you plug it into here? How could I like feed some data from a third party, library or partner into this to make it even better? And so that's really what we're focused on. It's like more integrations, making it easier for customers to customize it themselves. And really just trying to understand where the market is moving and making sure that we either build that functionality or partner with the right companies to cover off on those use cases.
Amazing. So it sounds like it's being received quite well, the adaptation of Gen.AI. And I think, what was really interesting there, and I don't know how you feel as a salesperson, but you're so linear on your ICP, right? Someone new comes in and you have to say no to them. As a salesperson, I know that hurts to turn away potential deals, but I think that strategy of really like leaning in towards it, getting a really good reputation and brand under yourself, and then starting to expand is going to be super, super helpful. So I guess the vision for Waldo. All right, let's give me all the good stuff.
Yeah. And maybe just back to your previous point, it is very tempting. Like, a Walmart or a Target or whoever like comes in and maybe today they're not the core ICP. You need to be really disciplined to not go down the rabbit hole with them if it's not the right fit today. I think in a lot of the cases, those types of companies, it is the right fit today, but ultimately it's just you're guarding your team's time as a small company. And like, you can use those conversations to learn and understand what you need to build for the future. But ultimately it's just, you're going to win more if you're focused on your ICP at a seed or, early stage Series A company.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's definitely the right strategy to have. And it's one that will help you accelerate faster to become the leader in those areas. So, so you've started within sort of the agency space, right, and internal brand agency space as well. I guess, how have you come into the business and helped shape that vision and what the go-to-market strategy? Have you and Justin collaborated and decided on it? And is that path rolling now?
Yeah. So I think, at an early stage company, there's going to be a lot of, founder-led sales to begin with. The founder will bring in a handful of reps before they hire a head of sales, which happened at Waldo. So, how we're looking at segmentation is it's really hard for a sales rep to take a call with like 100-person company and then also try to sell to Meta later in the day. So like it's definitely possible, but it's a tough motion. So really like we're looking at, okay, what are our big, more kind of like enterprise strategic accounts? Let's align the right reps to those and have some level of segmentation where there's an SMB mid-market team, they cover X number of employees and below, and we have an enterprise strategic team that understands those customers, the sales cycle, the internal politics to get deals done there. So we're starting to scale out those two teams right now, like SMB plus strategic and enterprise.
Amazing. And I think what was quite staggering is you mentioned everything's inbound at the moment. So a salesperson's dream, but ultimately that means capitalizing on everything and getting ready for the transition of it, not always coming in inbound. So looking to build out SMB and enterprise, I guess for you, you've adapted to both sales cycles with the clients. Do you foresee this product always having that level of inbound capacity, or do you think, this is going to become a sales-led enterprise motion one day?
Yeah. So, I mean, I am hedging my bets and starting the outbound motion, even with a ton of inbound demand right now. I think what I don't want to do is get caught flat-footed, and for whatever reason that dries up, or we have a downturn in 1 month on like inbound demo requests or free signups. I want to have all of the infrastructure and cadences and pretty much playbook to run outbound before we even need to do it.
Nice. I have a saying which I say to my team all the time, and it's only the paranoid survive in sales. And I think to have that ability to be like, it's the dream day today, but it won't always will be. So I'll build the infrastructure for it. It's just an amazing attitude to have.
And there's a lot of obviously technology, specific for that today. Like when I started as an SDR, it's like you show up, you have your computer, you have Salesforce, you have a phone, and you're going to go on LinkedIn or, whatever lead lists and add people, call them. Now, like a lot of this stuff, again, you need that sales overlay on it to call and follow up and be personalized. But a lot of like the consolidation of core ICPs, contacts, you still need the point of the view of the customer, but like a lot of it, of like the heavy lifting initially can be done through automation.
Yeah, certainly can. And I think that's how the modern sales team within SaaS is being built. And I was watching another podcast this morning, funnily enough, through Venture Guides, and they talk about how you really need to understand your ICP and be customer centric. So understanding the person in the business and their pain points all the time. So it sounds like you're getting ready for this go-to-market strategy evolving. So like, maybe I'll ask the hypothetical questions, which you haven't internally, but like 3 to 5 years time, is there a kind of a vision or a mindset where you think this could be?
Yeah. So, I mean, 3 to 5 years in AI is an eternity. Maybe 3 to 5 months, but no, I think, listen, we want to build an awesome business with a great go-to-market team. I think, and I realize that I didn't answer your earlier question about like, where is Waldo going in the future? I think today it's very much a like pull perspective in terms of like, you're going to go to Waldo, you're going to add a brand, you're going to run your workflows, get the insights and strategy you need. We want to move to more like, essentially a push model where you're going to go in, you're going to add your brand, and like, we're going to know what you want to accomplish and what you need to find out. And we are going to send that to you daily, weekly, monthly. So a lot of like the research, which is all has citation and you can trust it and you can filter sources, is pushed to you with not only kind of like the foundational understanding of what you're trying to learn about, but also some like creative ideas, strategy points that you can use as a jumping off point with your customers and prospects.
Amazing. I think that education piece is great. And I think that's where people buy in. It's almost like the challenger sale, right? Telling them what they don't know and what they are missing out. So I think what I'd be interested, you've obviously spoken with Justin and you're very much more within the landscape of Gen.AI. How do you see Gen.AI evolving? You just mentioned then it's hard to look past 3 to 5 months because it's such a new field. I mean, it's an exciting time. Everyone's kind of investing in AI, and I call it that AI transformation period. So what kind of what's going to happen in the next couple of years?
Yeah. I mean, if I were to guess, and I think Justin would be a much better person to answer this question, I'm very much, listen, I try to understand the product, but how do I optimize the go-to-market process to be sustainable in 3 to 5 years? But I think no matter what industry or vertical or who you're selling to, you need to be ready to compete with the big foundational models. OpenAI, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, whoever it may be, like they are most likely going to try to own the entire stack and kind of verticalize like their products. And I could see, once the foundational models are built, like they push into, hey, we want to have a marketing specific workflow or product. Also, we want to have a coding assistant, et cetera, et cetera. So I could see them getting more specific along with keeping their foundational models applicable for, the masses as well.
Amazing. Well, it's going to be a great journey for you for sure. So a couple of extra bits which I thought were worth mentioning. This podcast is focused on Waldo, but I also want to focus on yourself into Waldo. And we talked about why you joined, but you've got quite a unique career in the sense you've worked at early stage vendors. You've gone through huge amounts of growth, and now I believe you're going to do it, and this is your baby now. So, what are the major lessons you've learned in your journey of around building businesses and teams that you kind of want to apply into Waldo?
Yeah. So I think maybe initially I'm somewhat of a glutton for startup punishment. So maybe that's why I joined a seed company again. But I think, a lot of it comes down to finding the right people and being able to recruit. And, I know there's a lens of, hey, if you're a seed or Series A company, like don't go get somebody who works at a huge company or organization. I'm just trying to find somebody who is motivated, smart, hungry, driven, wants to win. I am open to hiring folks that have like non-traditional backgrounds as well. So I think what I have learned, at least from like a hiring and go-to-market perspective, is like, don't limit your options, in my opinion, initially. Like definitely vet your candidates, find the right people. But, I've had success in the past hiring somebody from a total different industry that never worked in cybersecurity, and they were super successful just because they were willing to put in the work to learn and win.
Amazing. I think that's definitely important, and I appreciate the type of profile you want to recruit to build a team, right? That young, hungry, driven, motivated. What advice are you giving to those people who may join your team or you recruited in the past around Gen.AI? Because Gen.AI, I think initially was brought out and it was for the very technical people initially, and then it's become more simplified, and before you know it, you can be on Twitter, on your phone, on the train home or car journey, and you can understand a little bit more of the language, and you can speak the language. So what advice are you giving out to people who you would recruit or have recruited around selling Gen.AI now?
Yeah, I think it's just you need to be comfortable with uncertainty and like an ever changing landscape. Like, you need to be flexible on how you go to market in terms of like your pricing and your packaging and your positioning. Because again, like there's big heavyweights in these markets, and when they make moves, hopefully you're in front of it and you need to adjust. But I think specifically in the early stage startup world, it's really just like, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And like, that is just kind of like foundationally what you need to do to be successful.
Amazing. Well, Dan, I think, you've got a very talented founder. I think you're very talented yourself in your journey, what you've achieved. So this company should do nothing but great things. I've really enjoyed speaking with you today. I think a couple of key takeaways for me. You chose an early stage company because of the founder and products. And I think that's something we should echo for our audience, maybe other heads of sales, VP, CRs who are looking to join a Gen.AI company. Like, what separates them, what makes a good company. I think as well, like particularly what stuck with me is just in this busy market, sticking to an ICP, no matter how hard it is to say no to sales. And I know that as well. So look, I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I look forward to seeing the growth.
Yeah, thanks a lot, John. If I can have one final plug for Waldo.
Please.
If you fit that criteria of smart, hungry, driven, and are comfortable working at an early stage company, please add me on LinkedIn. I would love to talk to you. We're going to be hiring a bunch this year.
Amazing. We'll put your LinkedIn profile in the podcast so everyone can see it, and hopefully get some good traction.
All right. Thanks a lot, John.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want more information about the podcast, head over to our website, Scale with Strive.